Hello, welcome to Createful Art. We're celebrating Createful Christmas, and today I would love to show you how to paint this simple yet beautiful Joseph and Mary painting. Before we begin, I just want to let you know that I have several Christmas projects, over 50 of them, that you can have access to when you become a Createful Art member, and you also get access to all the reference photos to help you paint along. And I do recommend getting the reference photo to help you paint this Mary and Joseph painting, because when you're painting people and animals, it's really difficult to get the proportions correct. When you are new to painting, I find it helpful to use the reference photo to trace all the objects in the painting. Then you can also get the full tutorial, which is for Createful Art members, and it'll help you know all the brush strokes. This tutorial is going to give you the basic steps so that you can paint any Mary and Joseph and add your personal touches. So if you're going to trace, then you'll need some transfer paper. You'll need something to paint on, such as a canvas or paper, some brushes, your acrylics, and the supplies that I use are in the description below. And if you're enjoying my tutorials, before we begin, please subscribe and hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified whenever I make a new video. Alright, I am so ready to relax. I hope you are too, so let's begin. Alright, so we're going to start out with our 8x8 inch canvas, but you can use any size, and a inch brush and your colors. So I am grabbing the white right now to make the cream color that's in our background, and if you've already made your colors, then you could just start right away. But if not, then you want mostly white and add some yellow, a little bit of red, and then you're going to need more yellow than the red. So I'm going to grab some more of that, and then I lighten that color with the white. And then to tone the color down, I need just a teeny tiny bit of blue. I'll put just a little bit on my brush, and see how that goes a long way. Well, we just want a little bit of blue in there, and that dirties that color down. If your blue made it too green, just add a little bit more red and white, and then it should be pretty close to the color. You can use your reference photo to color match, and then I'm just going to get this color down on the canvas with some wild and free brush strokes. To paint the donkey, I'm starting with my 6x8 round brush, and I'm going to use black. I'm focusing on this left corner down at the bottom, and I'm going to create a round top here. I fill in that round shape with just choppy brush strokes, and then I go in at the bottom and start coming out with the legs. Notice the angle and size of that leg, and then I'm going to create the leg on the right side. So I'm going to add some white to my brush just to get a gray color here, different color, and then I'm going to work on the shape of this leg right here, making it a little different than the left side. Notice the angle and the size of that leg. Now I'm going to add some more black to my brush, and I'm going to start making the ears. I use the point of my brush on that left side of the top of the circle, and then I come towards the center a little bit more, and I fill it in with black, and I'm shaping the ear, and then I'm shaping the top of the head, and then I go to the right side and create the ear coming up and going to a point on that side. And I can always reshape anything that I want at this point. Now I'm going to create the head, and I'm going to make it a long head. The shape of the line comes slightly towards the center, and then it comes up on the other side. And I'm filling that in with a blacker color, so I have to go back for more paint if it's not dark enough. Now I'm going to grab some white using that brush and a little bit of the black and create a lighter gray. And I'm going to add that color at the bottom of the head, and that makes the nose of the donkey. Then you can add any other gray areas that you want to put on your donkey. So to put the saddle or the blanket on the donkey, I just created a brown with blue, red, and my yellow colors. You just mix those up, and then you get a brown color, and then you can put that in the area that is above the donkey's head right here, and then a little on the very edges of both sides, underneath the ears. And if you feel like your brown just blends into the color of the donkey, you can add a little bit of white to your brown and just lighten it a little bit. Just depends on the look that you want. So now let's paint Mary. And Mary is going to be in a blue color. If you've already pre-mixed your colors, you know what blue colors that we have on the palette. And I add that blue to the left side of the donkey, just a line right there next to it, up to the ear. Then next to the ear, I extend that line out to make it thicker and fill it in right underneath the ear. Then up near the ear, it goes around the tip of the ear, and where you have that line of the back of the donkey, just go above that and fill it in. And then you get thicker as you get near the other side of the ear, round it out, because that will be her back area. And then right on this left side, you're going to make a round circle. That will be where the baby is. So you're shaping that belly on the left side and shaping the back coming up on the right side. Because she's a woman, she needs her woman parts right here. So we're creating a bump in the front area above her baby belly. And that bump is going to be smaller in size. Now I'm going to work on the left shoulder, and I might need to grab a lighter color here. So basically I'm making this line, and then it comes around her breast area and then above her belly and lays on her belly. So now I'm going to dip down and then go on to the right side, go up a little bit and start forming her right shoulder. So I'm going to create a little bit of a darker color by adding some black and a little bit of the darker blue. And then starting that right shoulder and adding a little bit of the darker color to the left breast area. So I'm going to shadow this right side of her belly. So that's what I'm doing, is just placing the shadow versus the light, and you can use my reference photo to help you out with that. Then I want that to dry, so I grab my detail brush and some white, and I'm going to add some areas for the eyes of the donkey. So right here on the left side, I'm shaping an area, and on the right side as well, and then in the middle here, a little bit on the top of the head. So now I'm going to add some dark color, the dark brown, on the right side here, and go around the blanket that I wanted to stand out a little bit more. Now when the blue is dry, you can go over it and create the hands. So that's what I'm doing right now, is making a cream color. It's basically the cream color that we had for the background, but you can add a little bit more red to make it orange. You could add a little bit more black to make it a darker skin tone. Just depends on what you want to do. And then I just added a line basically, and then it tips at the very end, so that it looks like it's going over the belly and just resting there. She will also have skin up here where her neck is, so I'm going to form that, and basically you just go around the circle of the neckline and then up on both sides of that. And then on top of that, you're going to have a circle or an oval, and that's her face. Now I can tip the direction that her face is looking. So see how I pulled the circle out just there at the top left? And I rounded it out, and then the chin's pointing down. And her arm on this right side is going to go up and rest on Joseph. So right now it's just kind of a bump there. With the detail brush, I'm going to take a little bit of that dark blue color or dark brown and just go underneath the chin a little bit here. If you want to make a face, and it's not super detailed, it's just two little lines at the very top with a gap between them, and then a little line for the nose. Once you have the face where you like it, then grab your flat brush and your white, and we're going to put the cloth that goes on her head. And I'm starting over here on the left, right next to her face, and then taking that line at an angle to the right side of her body, and then going above her head, and then going on the right side of her face. In the top part where her forehead is, I'm going to create a little bit of a line there and cover some of her face. Then I fill in the white area that's on the right side all the way up to her neck, and I take that white there, and then I pull up and then all the way to the right. So that left side is going to be just as long as the right side. So I'm going to carry it all the way to the ear and wrap it around her body here. So I'm going to grab that same brown color that I used for the saddle or the blanket on the donkey, and I'm right here, right next to the white. I'm filling in with brown. I'll go up just a little bit over the white, and then from the top, I'm going to take that line and pull down, but at an angle, and just keep angling it a little bit further and further to the right as I go down, and then let it kind of go to the right and be wispy here. So we're going to darken this section that has nothing filled in, and this is the shadow area of the robe. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of detail with my black, just the very tip of my brush. I'm going to add in the eyes here, and it's in that white area. There's just some dots and slants and then some nostrils down there. So now we're creating a line that's going to be the rope from the donkey around the donkey's neck, and it's going to come up here to the black area, and then it's just going to come to the right side of that area and hang down. So at this point, because it's black on black, in some areas you can't see it, in some areas you can. So I'm going to come back here and grab some lighter color so I can lighten the rope area that's up against the black. So I'm just going to add the first layer, which is basically just this shape of a hand right here. You could say it's like a square shape. And because the color is a little bit more gray than I want it to be, and I'm going to go over with the flesh tone color of my choice, I'm going to grab a little bit of white so I can start like with white, kind of like starting on a blank canvas. That way when it's dry, I can go over it. So I'm going over the white right here, and if I need the color to be just a little bit different than the background color so it stands out, then I'll grab some red or a little bit of yellow to add to that color, maybe a little bit of brown, and then I'm rounding out right here at the top, and I just go around the head about the size of what I'd want the head, and then I go over to the right here, and then on the left I carry that cloth over to the right. This is his head area, and notice it's a little bit darker than the cloth around his face. And I'm going to just fill in this color with a round or oval shape. If I use a detail brush, I'll have more control. So at the bottom of the oval, of course, and you can look at my reference photo to see how to place yours. And I'm just going to go down here and follow the face on the bottom and then on the sides, and then have just a little bit in the center going up. And I'm doing two slants at the top to create the eyes. So I'm just going to follow that line on the right side of his face and above the top. And then I'm going to create just a line right here going from one side to the other side, and I'm dabbing just to create a very inconsistent line, and then coming down here on the right. So now I'm going to fill in underneath him with the tan color. So Mary's left hand rests on Joseph's shoulder, so I'm going to add that right now, and basically it's just a shape just a little bit above the shoulder that's the color of a little lighter than what he has there, and the same color as her other hand. I'm going to add black just to shadow it a little bit. And thankfully now that white is dry, so I'm going to go over it with the flesh tone that I want for his hand. And that looks so much better. So when you're looking at the reference photo, just check and see where I added highlights and then dark places to his hand. And work on copying that so it looks like a hand. And with a little bit of tan color, I'm going to add some shadow right here next to Mary's head and where the bottom of her head part would be, in between Joseph and Mary. Now we're going to work on his staff. So I'm going to start it around where the top of his headdress is, and then over to the right, and I'm going to slant that line. Notice how I kind of squiggle the line as I go down. So I don't want it to be perfectly straight staff. So over here on the right, I'm adding the shadow area, again, of his arm and the cloth. And so you want to have that a little bit different of color. And then I'm just extending that down. And I'll change that color by adding a little bit of darkness to it, going up against the staff. Don't go over the staff. I want the staff to be able to stand out, so I'm going to have to adjust that color just a little bit. Either the staff make it darker, or the color next to it make it darker or lighter. So on there right here, I'm going to add a little bit of the darker brown. So again, this is the shadow area that's going to be underneath his hand. So I'll just go up here just a little bit where I want his hand to be, and then let that dissipate. It's going to come around that area and then come down, and then right here in between, kind of the staff in that dark color made what looks like an A, a really tall and skinny A shape. And I'm going to start his hand right here on the staff. So I'm creating basically a little dot where I want his hand. Again, this is a great time to have your reference photo right here handy so you can look at the shapes of the hand and where they are, and then also the angle of the arm. And if you find that the paint underneath is wet and you're just mixing with the paint underneath, then you can start doing other things. So I'm going to add some shadow right here underneath his face, and then it also goes to the right a little bit underneath there, and then on both sides of his face, and then I carry that shadow over all the way to the staff. And I also want to have something wrapped around Mary's head, so I'm going to create a curved line starting a little bit more towards the top here, and then it comes to the side like that because her head is tilted. At this point, you're almost done with the painting, and now it's just adding in your own personal preferences and some details that make it look finished. I mean, this is like the third color I've created his headdress to be. So I'm just getting that color, the exact color that I want, and I hope you do the same. And now you can put in grasses in the bottom. You can also leave it like this if you want. I just have my round brush here, and I grabbed my gold. You can grab bronze, you can grab even the brown color that you have, and then you just basically scribble at the bottom, just pulling up a little bit to make some grasses longer than others. This is a great time to be creative, and if you have the reference photo, I encourage you to take it away and let yourself just choose what you want to change, and then you'll end up with a unique painting. And if you feel like that is not something that you would like to do and you want a little bit more instruction, then you can get the full tutorial when you are a Createful Art member. You also get the reference photos, access to a whole bunch of other tutorials, and all of my art lessons and weekly new art lessons. So there's a whole bunch of fun perks that you get and bonuses. We have a lot of fun, and if you would like to join us, go ahead and follow this link. I hope you enjoyed relaxing while you painted along with me today. I really love how painting can take you to a place, or it can take you to a moment. Like, for example, we kind of stepped back in the past here and followed this story about baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph. And when you're painting this, I know for me, it helped me realize how hard it would be to be pregnant and traveling on a donkey. Not fun at all. And they're going through this trial, and it's just like everybody else. Everybody has their own trials. Alright, so for the new year, I'm excited because just like this one, we're traveling kind of. You know, we're going to a different place at a different time. We're going to be traveling to places all around the world and getting inspired by those places. So I put a place you would love to travel to, because I'm super excited to take you to these places and have fun getting creative and relaxing and getting inspired and learning some art history and some new skills as we learn how to paint. So I'm going to wrap this up. I have one more personal preference. I'm going to put some dark here on the bottom. If you like that, you can too. If you enjoyed this video, help me make more of them by hitting that subscribe button and the bell next to it. Also, hitting that like button helps, and sharing this video with your family and friends. I also have more videos you can enjoy, and don't forget to check out the membership if you are interested in that, and I'll see you in my next video.